Any sensible person would think that after Lil MDot lost two of his good friends to violence, Shoki and MDot respectively, and how they succumbed to such horrible deaths that literally had everybody talking about gang culture and raising the question whether drill music contributes to the rise in violence, Little MDot would have been smarter and tried to carve a lane for himself without attracting trouble. Unfortunately, he did not. Instead, what Lil MDot did was literally conform to standards what a small niche of fans want for him, and that is to rap about what he's done in the streets. But by doing that, he has actually incriminated himself. So imagine this. Little MDot actually boasted in a music video about stabbing a young man in the heart. Under certain circumstances, some people may be impressed, and that's not for me to judge. But what I will say is, Little MDot actually stabbed an innocent person who had nothing to do with any outside situation. So, on March 14th, Joshua Erorh, aka Little MDot, who was 18 years old at the time of the crime, viciously attacked a 21-year-old outside a fast food restaurant in New Cross, South London, just before midnight with a knife he concealed under a plastic white bag over his hand. He confronted the victim not because he was wronged or an argument took place, but because he thought the victim may be associated with another gang, and then he stabbed him in the chest. The victim was stabbed twice, and one of the blows actually pierced his heart, Kingston Crown Court heard. Thankfully, the victim's brother was inside the fast food place and rushed out to intervene. Now, of course, wanting to apprehend the person who stabbed your brother is a hard thing to do when your brother is literally slumped on the ground, bleeding everywhere. That was how Little MDot managed to flee, leaving his blue push bike at the scene of the crime. I believe it was indicated that the victim and his brother actually tried to chase Joshua Erorh for a short period of time, because the news reported that after a short chase, the victim collapsed again, in which his brother had to put the victim in a car and rush him to the hospital. The victim's brother rolled through traffic like a madman, in which police flagged him down. Once the police assessed the situation, the police provided first aid and aimed to keep the victim alive until the paramedics arrived on the scene and took over. The young man's injuries were so severe that the paramedics had no choice but to perform emergency open heart surgery at the side of the road. The victim made it to hospital and was given further treatment. However, till this very day, he still remains in a life-threatening condition more than 8 months later. Again, this vicious attack was motivated by a mistaken identity on Little MDot's behalf, or because he believed the victim was an active member of a rival gang, the court heard. This is not a scenario where Joshua Erorh can hold up his hands and apologise, or blame circumstances on self-defence. Essentially, Little MDot effed up. And what's worse is, he cannot hardly go to the courts and say he's remorseful, because this idiot, who lacks empathy, later posted a drill music video boasting about the attack. Listen, he actually had the audacity, the gall, to reference the food order the victim made mere minutes before he was stabbed. I personally believe he could very well be remorseful, but this facade about not caring and being quote-unquote on job has made it so hard for people to actually be normal. Some people have fallen into a drill category, have a bit of fame and feel as though they need to be the toughest, biggest, most gangster person we have ever seen in their life. Little MDot must have a good lawyer, because even though the victim still faces a life-threatening condition, he was acquitted of attempted murder, which actually baffles me. How can you stab a person in the heart, run away, then make a song, do a video and reference your attack in the song lyrics, but yet you're only charged with causing grievous bodily harm with intent? Joshua Erorh is due to be sentenced February 8, 2021 at Snaresbrook Crown Court. Detective Constable Jamie Layton of the Met South East Basic Command Unit said officers carried out extensive CCTV and mobile phone analysis to link Erorh to the scene. He went on to say, "This is a shocking act of violence that could have cost a man's life, and my team and I were committed to bringing Erorh to justice. I want to praise the police officers that stopped the car and provided the victim with initial first aid and CPR, while they waited for emergency health workers to arrive on the scene. Had it not been for the brilliant efforts of the medics, the victim may have died from his injuries. However, his life and his family's life has now been changed forever due to the brutal act of violence, and he continues to fight for his life. Condolences to the innocent victim, whose life has been changed forever over something he had no control over whatsoever. Safe."